Grand awakening, grand rising, everybody. This is the Cassandra Terry morning show. It's official. It's that's what we're calling it now. All right. Um, Want to just say hello to everybody in the audience. Thank you for joining us once again. We are here as the Fam Five in support of our sister Cassandra Terry. This is her show, as I had just mentioned, but she is recuperating from COVID, right? Yep, it's still a thing. It's still out there. Just be careful. Mind your P's and Q's. Make sure you wash those hands. Um, and stay safe distance from folks, especially ones who are coughing and sneezing. Bless them and bless yourselves by staying clear. Just want to bring that to mind, bring that to mention. Already up is Camille Jones, our sister there, and she says, "Morning all." So, grand rising, grand awakening to you. Out of the Fam Five, we are all here except Cassandra Terry, as I mentioned. So, Eric is here, Denise is here, Brian is here. Um, and today is the end of the week, Focus Friday. Focus Friday. And today's quote is focus on the outcome, not the obstacle. It's not attributed to any particular person. Um, and if it is, and you know who it is, let me know in the comments. But today we're going to take a look at this quote. Focus on the outcome, not the obstacle. So just want to go around the room real quick. Those of us here, Fam Five. We'll start off with Eric. He was the first one to come on stage, um, and get your thoughts on and your insight on today's quote. What comes up for you, Eric?
For me, especially this morning, being out in the cold, just focusing on my priorities, focusing on the goals. We had a great conversation last night about some opportunities that came about my way because of some unfortunate circumstances. But my focus is on providing the service and doing the job. And so today, following through on those commitments and just staying focused up. So that's what immediately came to mind is our conversations last night and being focused and executing and meeting those goals. And so that's what struck me immediately, Jay.
Okay, okay.
This morning on the Cassandra Terry Morning Show,
On the
which I'm a
consent.
proud member of.
Right. Absolutely. The Sagittarius morning show. Never mind about Sway in the morning. Never mind. Never mind.
Never mind. We appreciate him. We appreciate him for
Right.
getting us here. But our time is
Absolutely.
now. We'll take over. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate
Yeah. And the other shows like Good Morning America and all those other ones that
you. Right.
were, that are out there and paved the way for us to come through.
Right.
So we appreciate you.
We appreciate y'all. No doubt. No doubt.
Absolutely. And it's another cold morning. Uh Eric, you mentioned it. So what do you do in times like this and trying to be out there grounding? How does that affect you? How does that work for you?
For me, it's the focus, right? You're not focused on the pain, just like in college football or other adverse times in life. You remember being in love with the goal, in love with purpose, and so you're moving forward in that. And the pain or the obstacles are just that. They're temporary distractions. But if you can stay focused, if you can stay motivated, if you can remind your tribe of where your weaknesses are, so as they support you in the areas that you most need. You can stay focused, and you won't do it alone, and it won't be easy. But that's okay. Acknowledge that it's okay. Nothing worth it was ever easy. So let your tribe know. Allow them to support you, and just keep showing up one moment at a time, one day at a time. Just keep showing up. That's what I got.
Okay. You know, um, when I used to ground, right? One of the things that I heard from a cardiologist um, was to go to your garage. If your garage uh, wasn't um, too far off the ground, right, with the foundation, you could do it in the garage and have a heater next to you just to be comfortable. And I tried it once, and it just wasn't the same. It it didn't feel the same, and I don't think I had the same benefits, to be quite honest. I didn't feel like I normally feel after grounding in the grass. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, yeah, I don't, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. And so, I think the very next day I went out and did it in the cold, like
Hmm.
you're doing now. I just bundled up everywhere else except my feet.
Right, right. And you don't have to do it forever, right? I'll
Yeah,
take my shoes off here at some point this morning when the sun comes out, and I'll have it out 15 minutes, and then I'll put my socks and shoes back on because it's just that cold this morning to where there's no need of getting sick. But
right.
there are ducks in the lake right there. There are crows that I hear and other birds. There's an energy outside, right, that you can't replicate or duplicate. And so you might as well go to the fountain and get the real thing. And so the fog rising off the lake,
Yeah, you can't get that. And
you just
you
can't.
saw, didn't you see a little deer earlier?
Yeah, the deer still there.
Oh, I
He's
didn't
right
see it.
there. Yeah,
Oh,
he's right there. You just it's hard to see through all the bush that's there, but he's right there. He's moving around. And where there's one, there's many. So we'll see. We'll see another.
all right. Well, thank you, Eric. Before we go to Sister Denise, I'm just going to go ahead and recognize the people who have showed up this morning. Looks like after Camille, Cynthia came in and she says good morning to everybody. Uh, and I think Dr. Royan, she says good morning, everyone. And our sister Cassandra Terry, she did drop in and she says good morning, fam, and everyone. I'm listening in, but not feeling well enough to actually join in. Um, Coral from across the pond, and she says hi, all from across the pond. Hi, Coral. Good to see you. Um, Sharon, our sister Sharon out there, spending some time with our sister Denise, Grand Raisin. Good day, it looks like. Uh, Carl says, Cassandra Terry, great to see you here, hun. I'll continue to pray for a speedy recovery for you. And we will too as well, obviously. And we do continue to pray over her. Um, and we want to see her back here, obviously. We do. We do. Cynthia says, cold here in Texas today, another 40-degree morning. Same here in Alabama. Dr. Marcia says, good morning, everyone. Sending you love and light, Cassandra. Cassandra says, thank you, Coral. Dr. Marcia says, keep showing up. Nothing worth having is ever easy. Sharon says, feel better, Cassandra. Bolatito, quick recovery, Cassandra. So, thank you everybody for the comments this morning as we talk about Focus Friday. And the quote again today, uh, unknown, the person who we're attributing the quote to is, we don't know who that is. If you do, let us know in the comments. But it says here, focus on the outcome, not the obstacle. I think I've said that a couple of times myself. So, Sister Denise, out in much better weather than where we are. She's in Grenada. Good morning, Grand Rising, Grand Awakening. Sister Denise, what comes up for you?
Grand Rising, Grand Awakening. I am so happy and very honored to be here on the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. Thank you, Cassandra, for the platform and the love and the support. When you have a Cassandra in your life, just go get yourself a Cassandra. You are blessed. And so I thank you. I thank Mother J, because we know that she was the queen of it all. So thank you for that. That quote is right on point with me and Miss Sharon this morning. As I'm not going to even call them obstacles, there are just some things that are not necessarily ideal as we prepare to host. I almost said the word try to. No, we're not going to try to. We're going to host our event. And there are just unknowns, things you can't possibly know when you host something in a land that you're not from, in a foreign country. And we're dealing with that of the day on showing up. End of the day, we're focused on delivering what we came to deliver, whether that's 1 or 100. We are focused on the goal. Last night we had a chat and we are like, no, we're going to still do a couple of recommendations to do some different things. And we said, we could be switching things up, but we're being flexible. We're focused on the outcome, and maybe sort of like running an obstacle course. I feel like that's what we're doing. Like, when you run that obstacle course, you hit the hurdle and then you got to go left and then you got to tuck under and then you run. I feel like we're doing that a little bit, and we're doing it with grace and with positivity and having just the right attitude. And at the end of last night, let me say this, how could I be stressed over anything that looks like an obstacle when it was 70 degrees and right now it's 81 and it's breezy on the island of Grenada? So I just had to throw that in. So how could I be anything but focused on the beauty of what our outcome will be, because it's going to be positive no matter what. I think we did have this chat last night, and we were saying this morning, we are proud of ourselves for being here, being in a place where we're presenting something that we think could really change lives on the island. And if at the end of it, it doesn't look like exactly what, in your mind you have as some perfect event or perfect um, project or perfect product, you showed up for yourself though. You showed up and you showed out and you did your best, and you can always be proud of that. So I'm focused on that and focused on just maintaining a really positive outcome for the island. And I'm still dealing with my bugs, but that's okay. That's okay. The insects are really loving me. I think it's new blood in the water and they're just like yum yum yum. So I'm still trying to figure out the insect situation. But we smiled through all of it, counted all joy. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Sister Denise, and of course, you really did have to rum it in. Thank you.
I couldn't help myself. I just,
It's
when you said, I was like, I actually asked Sharon, I said, tell me, what's the temperature right now? She said 81. I said, oh, 81. All
you
right.
you you see my virtual background, right? That's the warmth I have this morning from my virtual background. uh, See, and that's why I got the jacket on. That's why I got the jacket on. But
Right.
you know, I have to tell you about a time because you put a picture in my head. The obstacles. Um, I remember being part of a BMW experience. So BMW actually, when on Guam, decided they were going to go ahead and invite some people from the media on over to participate in the BMW experience at a quarter mile track. And I was like, ooh, pick me. Let me go. And being the editor of a business journal, I said, I definitely want to go represent represent my organization. To be honest, I just said, "Oh, a racetrack and a BMW, I'm in." So I went. And there were actually several different vehicles that you could select. Um, Everybody got a lot of like I think the biggest vehicle they had was the 5 Series. Um, and somehow I got the SUV, right? And one of the things that you had to do there, because they actually had a course, an entire set of things you had to do on the quarter mile track, including the quarter mile. Um, and so we actually had a slalom course. Now, if you know what a slalom course is, there's a bunch of cones all the way down, right? The track. And you're supposed to weave left and right through these cones and get to the other side without one, knocking them down, two, um, not going too fast, right? So you were given the speed. I don't recall what the speed was. Actually, I think I ignored it. And I think that is that's the part I want to actually speak to. Um, a lot of times in our life, we ignore certain things to get to our goal. And while I was going through the course, I had somebody sit next to me. They also had um, a a crew of um, media members from Japan, and they sat behind me. And there were 2 women, and because I ignored the speed, and because it was an SUV, imagine an SUV going through a slalom faster than you're supposed to, right? Left, right, left, right, left, right, in and out, trying not to tip over any of these cones. There was a lot of, we talk about sway in the morning. There was a lot of sway that morning. Um, and the women from Japan, you could hear them scream a little bit because I'm taking the corners really, really quickly, and they were kind of afraid. So right at the end, almost the end of the course, because they were kind of a little bit afraid of what I was doing, I had to slow down. Eric is just cracking up, but um, I and what I was understanding about that moment was because I ignored the speed, the people in my care were just kind of a little bit afraid, right? Because of what was going on. They didn't because the jostling back and forth, they felt they felt insecure about what I was doing, and rightly so, right? And so when Denise was talking, that that image immediately came to mind, and the little screams from the back. And then the passenger next to me was actually a colleague of mine. We worked together in the past, and she just shot me the look like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I was okay. Let me just let me just dial it back a little bit. Um, but you get excited, right? This is an experience that you're probably not going to ever get to do again. And so I was just in the moment and not really focusing on my passengers, right? And I think that's one of the things that comes up for me is along your journey, you have passengers. And sometimes, even though you have the focus on the goal ahead of you, you have to remember that there are people that rely on you, and that there are some people that you have uh, not to forget along this route. So make sure that when you're actually going through what you're going through in your life, you're along your journey, that you don't forget about some of those people. And I think that's one of the important things that comes up for me this morning on Focus Friday. And before we get to Brother B, Brian, we're going to go ahead and go to the comments here and just read some things out, see who comes up. Um, I think we left off at Boletito, and Tanya Davis is here as well. It's 30 degrees. Hello from West Virginia. Hello, Tanya. Dr. Marcia says, sending healing and hugs your way. Feel better, Cassandra. Beatrice, she shows up here on the Cassandra morning, Cassandra Terry morning show. Hello, good morning from PA. Cynthia says, feel better. Cassandra. Dahlia, hi everyone from Frankfurt, Germany. Wow. Well, Frankfurt, Germany. Hello, Dahlia. Sonia says, good morning, everyone. Um, Ikewachukwu. Hello, everyone. And so, um, you know, before we get to Brian, again, it was for me when listening to Denise talk about the obstacles and just some of the things that she's dealing with as she's in Grenada, getting ready to take the stage and to be a part of this event that has the intent to positively impact the lives of the people in the audience and on the island of Grenada. So, as a true humanitarian traveler, we definitely align in that regard. We want to be able to positively impact those that are in our network and those that listen to us. So what we do here in the Cassandra Terry Morning Show, I see. I'm still trying to get used to it. I'm still trying to get used to
So it's okay. Cassandra Terry Morning Show.
morning show. Right?
There you
It's
go.
I,
Cassandra Terry Morning Show.
morning show.
There you
I
go.
there you go.
It-
That's it.
It's smooth. Once you accept it, it roll off the tongue real smooth. Cassandra Terry
Every
Morning
morning
Show.
show. Yeah, I think
Thank
I
God
think
to be there. Appreciate
yeah, absolutely. I just have to realize that. I got to remember that it's different. um, we have a LinkedIn user. I don't know who this is. I'm sorry, but I do see you there. It says morning all from Delaware. Delaware. Okay. All right. Brian, I know you've been patiently waiting. We always have save the best for last, though, right, B? Go ahead, Brian. Talk to us and share your insight.
I love how you always make everything so smooth, Jay. Best for last. You got me in my feels. I don't believe you, but you got me in my feels. I'm listening to to what everyone is saying this morning, and like Eric always said, man, it's hard to follow a class act like you three from the Fam Five. You just kind of have to wait, and that's why I try to get on here early. But I've been all over the place the last couple of days. So much to do. So one thing that comes to mind for me is a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it goes a little something like this: A man is whatever he thinks about all day. A man is whatever he thinks about all day. And that's something that I talk about all the time. Not getting so focused on your right now that you forget your tomorrow. And the reason I say that is, so I was watching a movie a few weeks ago, and it's called Founder. It's about Ray Kroc. For any of you that know who Ray Kroc is, he's the guy that really brought McDonald's into what it is. Like you had Dick and Mac, but they were like mom and pop. Ray Kroc wanted bigger. Ray Kroc was 55 when he founded the franchise of McDonald's. McDonald's at first was just a one-stop shop. It was one place, one little store, No big anything. But Ray Kroc saw something bigger. He wanted McDonald's everywhere. And the only thing that made him have this vision was the name. It was the name McDonald's. McDonald's in his mind was America. It was family. It was everything that you think about when you think about going to church, when you think about going to small towns, when you think about America. And he said one thing in that movie that really stuck out to me. Persistence. Ronald Reagan was 55 when he decided to run for president. Ray Kroc was 55 when he founded the McDonald's franchise. You don't get to these places by not focusing on that one thing that you want. You have to know what you want and you have to be persistent in getting it. And the reason I'm saying all of that is because if you're focusing on the wrong thing, if you're thinking about the wrong thing, if you're not thinking about what you want, that's what you end up getting. So when I think about the quote for the day, and when I think about focusing, when I think about what Winston Churchill says about focusing, I always go back to that one thing that has always stood out to me, and that's not getting so lost in my right now that I forget about my tomorrow. Stay focused. I stay persistent, regardless of the obstacles that come up, regardless of, how I get lost in myself, how I get in my own way. I never lose sight of why I got into it, why I started, and where I'm going. So that's my take on this Focus Friday. And I hope everyone can take something from that and to not get lost in today, but focus on where you want to be tomorrow. Back to you, Jay.
Thank you, B. See, that's why he closed it out because he can. He was good. Um,
You the closer now, B.
yeah, I
Take
mean,
it. You, you the closer.
The closer. I love that show, The Closer.
You the closer. You missed the content. You the
uh,
closer.
so and he did bring the content. He definitely did. Um, and now I understand where you're coming from, Eric. How do I follow up, man? Uh,
Look, look, keep notes. I'm telling you. People say it's corny, people do all that. Keep notes, bro. How you gonna keep track of what's going on if you don't keep notes?
Eric
Keep
said,
notes.
simple.
simple, absolutely, it definitely is simple. Um, so on this Focus Friday, uh, as we think about what Brian just said, right? Um, stay focused on that goal. It's not just about the right now; it's about the tomorrow. Um, let me look at scripture here, and I was talking about the slalom course on this BMW experience on the track. I went on to um, I went on to the quarter mile, right? If you've ever been to a race track or if you've watched it on TV, um, usually we're talking about like the Indy 500, right? You're going in the circle. Well, a quarter mile is just that. It's a quarter mile track that's straight away. A lot of what people were doing were just kind of sitting for a second, right? And then the person holds a flag and then they drop the flag and you're supposed to take off. And um, I've been to enough racetrack experiences um, to know a couple of things. There's a reason you see smoke before they take off, and what they're doing is they're trying to acclimate the tires to the track, and so they can get a good grip and take off immediately. And so what I did was I actually um, put the because it was not a manual shift vehicle. And so what I did was I actually put the vehicle in neutral, put my brake down, and revved, right? So I had my brake on, and then I had my foot on the gas. And so what that did was allow me to not shift. I was already in the shift, the drive position, had my foot on the brake, and then my foot on the gas. So if you can imagine that position, it allowed me to be quick on the draw, but also to kind of get that what they call a standing burn before you take off. And so I was thinking in my mind like, "Hey, this is a competition." And so my focus was getting to the end of the track as quickly as possible and trying not to scare my passengers like I did on the slalom.
I was
Um,
just about to say, you're saying all of this, and there are people in the back
there are people in
that are not signed up for this.
they didn't, yeah, but here's the thing about the slalom because of that, they put their seat belts on. So the
They
the
weren't fools. Of course,
yeah,
they put their seatbelt on.
they they put their seatbelt in the middle of the slalom. You can see them, and they were kind of, imagine that they're kind of screaming a little bit, and they're putting it on, and I was like, oh wow. So I'm keeping all of this in mind,
You are.
um,
You
and
are keeping all this in mind.
I am, and
Okay.
before, and I got to back up a little bit because before I did this, I looked to the back, and I was like, um, so I said something in Japanese just to kind of break the ice and sort of an apology. And so speaking to them in Japanese, I greeted them, and I and I said, "Excuse me," and then I said, um, "Are you ready? Can we go really fast?"
Wow.
And I asked them. I said, "Can we go really fast?" And I was expecting a no, but from them, I guess they were also in the moment, and they wanted to have that same type of experience, and they were like raising their hands in the air like they were ready to go on a roller coaster. So, um, so I was
You,
like, I got the green light, right? The flag didn't drop yet, but I got the green light, and I
you
was
got
like,
the
"Oh,
first green light,
the
but
first green light."
when they start screaming, that's when they reevaluate it.
No, so
And
that was after the screaming. That was after the slalom. So I'm coming up to the line, and right before I come up to the line, that's when I put it in park, and I turn around, and I'm talking to the passengers, and I'm asking them the permission to take off, to really take off. And in some of those moments, right, things slow down, and it's almost like slow motion, and the guy who dropped the flag, I can recall, like I just took a look to my left a little bit as I'm passing him, and his eyes his eyes were wide open, like, what did he just do? You know, um, but this, I mean, so because nobody on the line, I think I was like the fourth person, right?
yeah,
And nobody before me did what I did.
of course not.
And so so
It's
here I
not that.
am. I'm doing the standing burn, and you can see the smoke just coming off the tires. And the guy was like, what are you?"
This guy,
So um before I get into more foolishness this morning,
Jeff Gordon experiences.
oh yeah. Um, let me talk about the gospel, the good news here. Philippians chapter 2, verse 3. Do nothing from selfishness, or empty conceit, but with humility of mind, regard one another as more important than yourselves. Do not merely look out for your own personal interests, but also for the interests of others. Um, and you got to understand what was going on at that time. The Philippian church, right? They are fighting with one another in that church at that time. And there were they were trying to figure out how to respond to the opposition. Um, and so it was like, okay, what do we do? How are we going to take care of this? And so this is where the message came through, right? Don't be selfish. Mind and regard one another, right? Don't forget about each other. And don't forget about your own personal interests, but also keep in mind the interests of others. And sometimes when you're too focused on what's ahead, and this is what I mentioned last Friday, is that, don't forget about the things around you, because sometimes that's going to have an impact on the impact that you're trying to make. Um, just like the BMW experience was for me, I wanted to have a positive, I wanted to have a fun time, but I had passengers, right? So that's why I turned around and I looked to them and I was like, "Oh, they were screaming earlier. uh, should I?" And I took the moment to ask if it was okay. And as soon as they raised their hands like they were gonna go on a roller coaster, I was like, "Okay." Okay. It's okay. And this is the thing with life, right? Life can be a roller coaster. There's definitely ups and downs, and you can either raise your hands or you can sit back in your seat like this. Don't lean forward because they say don't lean forward, right? Um, and that's what I did. I just made sure that the passengers were okay with it. Now, I'm gonna be very honest. The person sitting next to me, my former colleague, she looked at me and she was like shaking her head.
Just like I
Um,
did. Hmm.
just like you did.
Hmm.
But what we wanted to do was make sure that they were she wanted to make sure that they were safe, right? And I did, I think I did say in the moment, this is we're gonna go as fast as we can.
I gotta jump off. I gotta head over here to Michelle's room. I'm loving this conversation, but I just got a text from her. I'm getting ready to jump over here. If y'all have an opportunity, jump over to the weekend strategy masterclass. I'd love to see y'all.
Absolutely. Yep.
Awesome. Have a wonderful Cassandra Terry morning show, Focus Friday.
Absolutely. Thanks, B, for joining us for the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. It's gonna roll off my tongue soon enough, right?
You'll get it. You'll get it.
Yeah, you just gotta keep saying it. Be
Look,
positive. You did a great job.
so I did the Cassandra Terry morning show, Focus Friday. I sounded like I was in the Matrix, but I'm practicing. I gotta keep practicing. Like Denise says, you gotta practice, man.
Absolutely.
Practice makes
Correct.
perfect.
All right, we'll see you in a minute, Brian. Thank you again.
See y'all.
Cassandra
Have a
Terry.
good one. Thanks for joining us.
And so as
No
uh,
doubt.
Brian drops off, we're gonna go around the room for just a little bit. Um, we want to support our brother as he joins the show. America's Supermom, right? Talking about strategies, and as the storytelling strategist, that's definitely something that's always on my mind. Trying to understand my story and trying to help others tell their story. And so, this few moments here, we're going to go around and we're going to talk to Eric and hopefully Denise. Um, her internet holds up and we'll be able to hear from her as well. What are your final thoughts this morning, Eric? Can you tell us now that we've
Yeah,
gone around the room?
yeah. I was wondering if we wanted to go to Denise first to see if since her internet is up now, to let her go. Sis, if you want to go, you can.
Denise, you still with us? You're able to jump on? If not, we'll go to Eric.
Okay. Well, anytime you hear sis and you wanna speak, please do so. Um, I am putting my socks back on, B, because my time has elapsed and it is cold out here. So this Focus Friday again, I think that the note to me, or what I took, especially from what B gave us, was to not get distracted. From Winston Churchill to examples of current obstacles he's dealing with. The point is that we need to stay focused. We have too much responsibility. There's too much greatness. There's too much accountability within the groups that we're a part of. Let's get it done. If we don't, nobody else will. And so, just feeling re-energized, revigorated, especially now that I got one of my socks on and I'm feeling a little warmer. I'm motivated. I could do it. Whatever's on my mind, I could do it. And so, it's written down. It's prepared for me. It's all in front of me. Now it's just up to me to go step to the plate and follow through. And if I fail, that's okay. If I'm not successful, that's okay. I'll let my tribe know. I will be honest with myself, assess what I failed, how I failed, and how I'll be better moving forward. And so, in that case, it's not really a failure. It was a learning opportunity. And so then I get the opportunity to wake up tomorrow and do the same thing. And so I look forward to, again, another Focus Friday. As B would say, being on this side of the grass, I'm grateful and appreciative. And so go forward and have a great day. That's the objective. That's the plan. You do the same. And we'll go to Denise if she's available. If not, then I'll throw it back to you, Jay.
We'll see if she comes through. She may not be able to.
And
And
that's okay if she doesn't. I'm glad that the sister is there. She's making change, right? And she dropped off. Yep, so she's not coming back. Maybe she had to go and speak. So I will fill in for my sister this morning. So we think about her. We were talking about her last night and things that we want to make sure that we mentioned this morning. And so we definitely wanted to give our sister Denise a shout out. She is a humanitarian. She is an incredibly warm, gentle, loving person. She is spending her time there in service, making sure that young entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, are having the skill set necessary to take care of themselves and their families. So we honor our sister. We hope that the mosquitoes leave her alone because she's getting toe up, she said. And we understand that. So definitely hope her or wish her the safest, healthiest trip, that she's returns to us soon because we miss her. And so definitely thinking of you, Denise, and you too, Sister Cassandra. We know we're on the Cassandra Terry show. We know you want to tap in, but we'll hope you also getting well too. And so if you nod off, it's okay. This is recorded. You'll see it later. But hope you get your rest, your water, your sleep, so that you can return to us Monday for the Cassandra Terry morning show Monday morning, or Tuesday. Tuesday, we'll return Tuesday. So the Cassandra Terry morning show will return Tuesday morning. So we're hoping that you'll return for that Monday morning show. So looking forward to it, sis.
I was just going to say, we're renaming the show and giving her an extra day.
That's why my brain immediately was like, no, not Monday. You got
Tuesday.
Monday off. We take Mondays off. Tuesday through Friday, the Cassandra Terry Morning
Morning.
Show. We'd love for you to join us.
Right. It's okay. It's okay. We're still getting used to the idea. This is something that we were talking about also. Um, you know, Final thoughts. Outside of my slalom experience scaring Japanese media as my guests in the vehicle. Um, it's important to stay focused. It's important to definitely understand where you're headed. Um, so absolutely. Last night, what I was dealing with, um, and I had to continue to stay focused. So I'm trying to sign a document um, digitally, right? So there's various ways that you can do that. Online DocuSign. I'm not, I'm not a supporter of any sort of application, but there's a way to do it. And I was just having some issues, and I was like, okay, I'm going to sign this thing either way. It's going to happen. The document is important because it's going to allow three pieces of my work, three individual works, to be included in an anthology. And it was a surprise to me because I submitted one piece because that's all they were calling for. That's the requirement, right? And they were going to publish one piece. I said, well, let me just go ahead and submit three and then let them decide, let them choose. Lo and behold, they read all three and they said, we can't decide. We're going to let all three go into the anthology because they were all so good and so powerful. So I was very humbled by that decision. So I've got to get this publication agreement signed. And so I'm making sure that I'm going to get that done today, even though I was having an issue with it last night, because I think it's important to share our message, to share our stories. And that's why I'm leaning into my purpose as the storytelling strategist. And so if I'm going to do that for other people, I need to show up for myself. Absolutely. And so I've got to stay focused, make sure that I get this done. And so that's what comes up for me. The other thing that comes up for me, just a little side note. Um, David Jones joined in the comments here, and he says, "Great conversation." He was laughing out loud. Too funny putting on your socks. And at that very moment, what came to mind was Mr. Rogers. Um, Mr. Rogers, if you recall, if you are of the age, right, you can recall Mr. Rogers. He gets played, um, in repeats and reruns. And before he starts his show, he sings this song, his neighborhood song, and he's taking off socks and shoes and switching in, from outside shoes or work shoes into comfortable shoes. And then for us islanders from Guam, when you enter the house, you take off your shoes. You're in the house barefoot almost sometimes, because that's just how we do on the islands. And so to me, that's what immediately came to mind. Um, so Dr. Marcia from Cassandra Terry, she says, Dr. Marcia, thank you, receiving the hugs and healing, right? David says, no such thing as failure, learn or grow. And Cassandra just throws up lots of hearts emojis there, and some hand claps, lots of hand claps. Sharon says, right, it's the can't see him, and that's eating her up. Oh, she's talking about. She's talking about Miss Denise, if I'm not mistaken. Um, And so I think um, that's kind of what I wanted to end with today. We got to join Brian on American Supermom show, um, and support him. This is the thing that we have to do as Fam Five is support one another, be there for one another, because when the fam pours into you, you pour into them, and that's what I'm thinking about. That's what I try to do, because I am part of a collective. I'm part of this community. I'm part of this family, and and I'm gonna go through this slalom called life, and I don't want y'all screaming. I don't want them screaming. I don't want them screaming. I know that and look at Eric. I know that they're my passengers, so I just want them to have a good time with me. Um, put your hands up in the air so that we can ride this roller coaster. So on your ride on your roller coaster today, put your hands up in the air and enjoy it. Enjoy it. Understand that there is a goal at the end of it, absolutely, but you have to enjoy that. And yeah, stay focused, but don't forget the things and the people that are important to you, that are around you, that depend on you. Um, and so I'm going to go ahead and leave with that. Again, today's quote, one more time, is focus on the outcome, not the obstacle. We had some really good shares this morning from Eric, from Sister Denise, and Brian. All right. And so, with that, thank you. Take care. Grand awakening, grand rising. Take care, everybody, on this journey called life this morning. Have a great weekend. Take care. Bye bye.